Assalamualaikum, my name is Nur Adriana binti Mansur. My metric number is A218753. I will explain about data description for this assessment. Variable name in this assessment is liter per 100, horsepower, weight and brand. Analysis of data are conducted through summary statistics, graphical representation, numerical descriptive measure and statistical analysis using software and theoretical modeling.
Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is Muhammad Zulfahmi. Now I will present sampling and record data set A. First of all, we have select 1050 observation at random from 3092 observation using data A that has been prepared. Then we record on numbering data as indicated in the data description. It is easier for us to calculate the frequency. From data set A, we have selected one category variable and 3 numbering variable as your variable of interest, namely liter per 100, horsepower, weight, and brand. First of all, the table shows the data from the liter per 100 group. The highest percentage from the data is 4.76 to 5.18, which is 20.7%. While based on the data obtained, the lowest percentage is 10.06 to 11.12, which is 0.7%. The next table shows the data from the horsepower group. The highest percentage of data is 1.30 to 1.50, which is 28.7%. While based on the data obtained, the lowest percentage is 1.9 to 2.13 and 2.34, which is 0.7%. The third table shows data from weight group. The higher percentage of data is 3.225 to 3.500, which is 80.7%. Why based on the data obtained, the lowest percentage is 4.876 to 5.150, which is 4.0%. The last table shows data from brand groups. The highest percentage of data is Honda, which is 27.3%. While based on the data obtained, the lowest percentage is Datsun, which is 0.7%.
According to the slide, the mean for liter per 100 is 6.12. Next, the median for liter per 100 is 6.14 and the value of mode is 5.59. As displayed on the slide, the mean for horsepower is 1.33. Next, the median for horsepower also 1.33 and the value of mode is 1.39. As demonstrated by the slide, the mean for weight is 3.84. Next, the median for weight is 3.78 and the value of mode is 3.60.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Fadlin Shakina binti Faizan Hamli, metric number A21A247C. Today I will present 3.2 measure of position. Quarter 1 for liter per 100 is 37.5, while quarter 3 is 112.5. Value for quarter 1 is 5.23 and value for quarter 3 is 7.19. Value inter-quarter range for liter per 100 is 1.96. Quarter 1 for horsepower is 37.5, while quarter 3 is 112.5. Value for quarter 1 is 1.01 and value for quarter 3 is 1.53. Value inter-quarter range for horsepower is 0.52. Quarter 1 for weight is 37.5, while quarter 3 is 112.5. Value for quarter 1 is 3.33 and value for quarter 3 is 4.27. Value inter-quarter range for weight is 0.94.
Hi, my name is Mahija Shafiqah binti Abdimanaf. My number metric A21, A27 to C. Variation. First, variation S power 2 of letter per 100. Formula S power 2 1 per n1 f at kuasa 2 minus f at kuasa 2 per n. Total variation S power 2 1.94 and standard deviation S of letter per 100 1.39. Variation S power 2 of horsepower. Total variation S power 2 1.4 and then total standard deviation S 0.37. Last variation of weight. Total variation S power 2 of V 1.91 and total standard deviation S of V 1.38.
Now move to the next part. For the next part is I'm going to present about the graphical representations. To interpret the recorded numerical data, we will use graphical representations to present the data set. There are three different ways that we will use to utilize the data set to visually illustrate the data, ideas and informations and the concept in this assignment. There are three diagrams that we will use in this assignment. For the first one is histogram, ogive, and the chart pie. Move to the first diagram that we will use is histogram. Histogram are the graphs that display the continuous data in a variety of ways depends on the types of data that been displayed and the learning domain. For the histogram graph, we will use to present the data for liters per 100, or we know as fuel consumption in 100 kilometers. In this histogram graph, we will use frequency and the midpoint. To find the midpoint, we need to sum up the upper boundaries and the lower boundaries and divide by 2. Now, by looking at the graph, we will see that the 4.76 to 5.81 class interval get the highest frequency, which is 46, and the midpoint for this class interval is 5.285. Meanwhile, the class for 10.06 to 11.12 class interval get the lowest frequency, which is only 1, and the midpoint for this class is 10.59. Now move to the next graph, which is ogive. Ogive is a line graph that shows the cumulative frequency by its upper boundaries. For this graph, we will present the data for horsepower, or we know as total horsepower that used by each vehicle. In this graph, we will use the frequencies and the upper boundaries. Now, by looking at the graph, we will see that the 1.30 to 1.50 class interval get the highest frequency, which is 43. Meanwhile, the 1.93 to 2.13 and 2.14 to 2.34 get the lowest frequency, which is 6. Both of them are get the same number for frequency of horsepower. Now for the last diagram that we will use is chart pie. Chart pie will present the data of percentage of weight. In this graph, we will use the frequencies and the percentage of the weights. To find the percentage of the weight, we need to find the relative frequency first, and then by using the relative frequencies, we can find the percentage of the weight for this diagram. Now, by looking at the chart pie, we will see that the highest percentage is 3.23 to 3.50 class interval get the highest frequencies, and the relative frequency which are 28 and 0.28. Meanwhile, 4.91 to 5.18 class interval get the lowest frequency, and the relative frequency which are 6 and 0.04.
Next, I will present 5.0 Statistical Analysis using Software. 5.1 Numerical Descriptive Measure. The mean using SPSS for the liter per 100 group is 3.88, while the mean by using manually calculate is 6.22. Median by using the SPSS is 4 and using manually is 6.14. Mode that we get by using the SPSS is 3 and using manually is 5.59. The standard deviation in using SPSS is 1.32 while using manually is 1.39. Variance for SPSS is 1.73 while for manually is 1.94. For range, minimum and maximum calculated by using SPSS are 7, 1 and 8, while calculate manually is 8.48, 2.63 and 11.11. Lastly, the answer of percentile for quarter 1 by using the SPSS is 3 and for quarter 3 is 5, while using manually calculate is 5.23 for quarter 1 and 7.19 for quarter 3. The answer of mean by using SPSS for the horsepower group is 3.68 and using manually is 1.33. The median using SPSS is 4, while the median by using manually calculate is 1.33. Next, the mode is 4 by using SPSS, while manually is 1.39. The standard deviation in using SPSS is 1.80, by using manually is 0.37. Variance for SPSS is 3.25, while for manually is 0.14. For range minimum and maximum, value calculated by using SPSS are 7, 1, and 8 respectively, and 1.63, 0.67, and 2.30 are calculated manually. Lastly, the answer of percentile for quarter 1 by using SPSS is 2, and for quarter 3 is 5, whereas using manually calculate is 1.01 for quarter 1 and 1.53 for quarter 3. The answer of mean by using SPSS for the weight group is 3.69, and using manually is 3.84. The median using SPSS is 3.50, while the median by using manually calculate is 3.78. The mode is 2 by using SPSS, while manually is 3.60. The standard deviation in using SPSS is 2.06, while using manually is 1.38. Variance for SPSS is 4.25, while for manually is 1.91. For range minimum and maximum value calculated by using SPSS are 7, 1, and 8 respectively, and for using calculate manually are 2.19, 2.950, and 5.140. Lastly, the answer of percentile for quarter 1 by using the SPSS is 2, and for quarter 3 is 5, whereas using manually calculate is 3.33 for quarter 1 and 4.27 for quarter 3.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nafaradia Binti Jamingun, and my number matric is A21, A28, A27. I would like to present hypothesis testing. One sample ANOVA. We start with the one sample t-test for liter per 100. The t-test value is 1.660 for the step number 1. Step, and then we go to step number 3. We are using t-test table and guide 39.548. We can conclude since t table greater than TADF, we reject hash null. Right, for the last one is one-way ANOVA. We have calculated step by step, and I will give you the conclusion. Since F for liter per 100 equal 1.659, smallest than 6.39, and horsepower, 8.899, greatest than 6.39. Therefore, we reject null hypothesis. Conclusion, we conclude that two variables are not a same. I think that's all for me. Thank you.
Now I will present about correlation. The arc value between liter per 100 and horsepower is 0.742, which shows a strong positive correlation. The arc value of liter per 100 and weight is 0.741, which shows a strong positive correlation. The arc value between horsepower and weight is negative 0.758, which shows a strong negative correlation. That's all for me.
Alright, I will present about confidence interval. Confidence interval is referring to the evaluating in the interval of statistics containing a population parameter. By using SPSS, we collect the result of the 95% confidence interval. For horsepower, lower boundaries 0.986, and the upper boundaries is 2.104. The standard error for this dependence is 0.283. Beside that, it can be say that 45% confidence that the horsepower parameter is between 10986 and 2.104.446. I think that's all for me. Thank you.
Prediction modeling. Prediction modeling is the process of processing and verifying a model that might be a ways to predict function outcome. Unisley knowledge fading. The result run a modeling predicting on the simple of data in this second. The result of the outcome that way etc are shown here. Example, conflict and correlations.
In conclusion, the data provided in set A shows liter per 100 kPl cylinder, horsepower, weight, and make. SPSS Statistics is IBM statistical software suited for data management, advanced analysis, multivariate analysis, business intelligence, and criminal investigation. In data sampling and categorical data recording, we had to use IBM SPSS statistics to record 150 random observations from the given data file. With the table available, we describe the data set using various numbering descriptive measures such as measure of central tendency, measure of position, and measure of variation. In the measure of central tendency, we need to find the mean, median, and mode for each dataset. Predictive modeling is how regression models are used to test theoretical models and explain relationships in models. Graphs are used to graphically identify confounding models and patterns, and how different variable models are used to control for confounding. And lastly, there are two parts in the shape of the distribution, which are symmetrical and asymmetrical. That's all for me.